could handle the ball. He was confident. He made every other players better, and that's what a good point guard does. Mike had a tremendous work ethic, but if anything, he was probably the leader of all our leaders.
13 seconds to go. This could be a give and go. Ten seconds down. Score! Mikey M! 3 seconds, 2, 1 at the buzzer! It's over! Farmington has won it 60-59. This place is going nice. Future has done it one more time.
Mike was the leader by example. First one at practice, last one to leave.
Mike was a great leader, whether it was on the floor, in school, out of school. He always, Mike always had a good head on his shoulders.
He was such a role model for all of us. I'm proud to have been associated with that team, even in a very small way, because of Mike's leadership.
He was a spark plug of the team, I thought. When you ask for someone who is a catalyst to start a team, Mike was the guy that could make the team run.
Mike was just, a great point guard. I mean, handled the ball, could score, he could defend, but, his ball handling was just magnificent.
He had that bright, fiery red hair, and it matched his play. He was a fiery, feisty, electric type player.
First game he ever played in high school, in a varsity game, he scores 2 points. Well, his dad sees me a day or two later and he goes, well, he got home and he writes on the board, 998 to go. Consequently, Mike ended up with 994 points.
And I remember him passing out their stat totals and saying, Mike, I'm sorry, when I totaled everything up, you have 994 points. 6 away from being a 1,000-point scorer.
He was not the best foul shooter. And I teased him forever. I said, Mike, if you made your foul shots, you would have surpassed 1,000.
I remember him saying to me, Joel, why didn't you tell me I was that close? I said, Mike, I didn't know, man. I didn't know what the cumulative points are, but it was sort of like, oh man, 6 points away, 2 threes.
His attitude was, we won the state tournament, I'll take that. But in the state tournament, he didn't shoot 100%, but he must have shot in the 90s.
When you mention 1988, you think Mike Mucher.
And Mike played great game, 25 points, handled the ball, hit foul shots, broke pressure down.
He was a mastermind of that state tournament his senior year. Give him the ball and just get out of the way. He had a great supporting staff. And everybody on that team could handle the ball. Everybody played defense. But Mike was the general, and there was no doubt.
People could have told you in '88, if there were a Hall of Fame then, which there weren't, that Mike Mucher would be in it. There's no doubt. I mean, he was what people aspired to be like.
Our next inductee possesses one of the most familiar last names in Farmington sports history, Mucher. When I served as athletic director of Farmington High School, which was over 20 years after our '88 championship, I would visit gyms all over the state. And without a doubt, when I would say I was the AD in Farmington, people would ask about 2 people, Mike Lee and Mike Mucher. And they would say how they remembered him playing and what a weapon he was for the Tigers. He, too, was an all-Hamburg player and a 2-time first-team All-Stater. What Julie Gagney was for young girls, Mike Mucher was to young boys in Farmington. He was what they wanted to be, because he, too, was not just a basketball talent, but a community influence and a scholar as well, earning him the 1988 class valedictorian. He was the floor general, and he led his team to the state title in 1988, creating moments that none of us will ever forget, and helping to create moments that created such an overwhelming sense of community pride. How many times did we hear, Mucher with the steal, Mucher drains the 3. The assist from Mucher, or Mucher at the buzzer. Farmington wins. Farmington wins. Because as the article reads, nobody, but nobody, stops Mike Mucher. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome home our next inductee, Mike Mucher.
Thank you to the committee. First off, I talked to Mike Whaley about 8 months ago. I said, for the record, let's not let the facts get in the way of a good story. And then on the video, we were highlighting the 6-point miss. So anyway, 2, I don't feel old enough to have played in the short era. But again, with the video, there's no place to hide on that. I think the committee did an excellent job this year recognizing a group of people. One, it's great to be recognized alongside my teammates of 1988. And then 2, on a personal level, to be recognized on the same night as my dad's contributions with Liberty Insurance are also being recognized. So that makes it special. For me, Farmington basketball had two faces and really a number of voices, but I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight Danny Reynolds and Paul Moulton. I know they're not here tonight, but for me, Paul showing up with the blue chest of uniforms, picking the color, picking the number, and then playing for the rest of the day. And to say Danny's style of coaching was memorable is an understatement. Great coach, coached many of us in '88 all the way up through 7th, 8th grade, got us ready for Coach Lee. And Coach Lee, just a terrific New Hampshire. Obviously, we were fortunate to have him here in this school. But prior to high school, I spent a lot of time with him going back and forth AAU programs back in the time when there was one AAU team for the entire state. So, in addition to all those rides, I appreciate that he's become just such a great friend of the family. So, Coach Lee, thank you. And then last but not least, I was fortunate to have what I would consider 3 older brothers. I had George, Tim, and my brother-in-law Gary, who all 3 were very, very good players, knew a lot about the game, and taught me a lot both on and off the court. George and Gary had an uncanny ability to talk me or others into losing a game long before anybody touched the ball. So I chalked that up to good, mental toughness training. And then Tim, obviously I can't count the hours of dribbling, shooting, passing, occasionally fighting here in this gym. He had a saying that on occasion, if I wasn't quite working up to his standards, he's like, Red, there's always someone out there working harder than you. And I knew that to be both frustrating and true, because on most days, I wasn't the hardest working person in the gym when it was just the 2 of us. So keeping up with you was a challenge, but it certainly made me a better player. And then last but not least, Mom and Dad, appreciate the advice and counsel over the years. Back when we were playing, the pregame advice was quite short, quite simple. It was good luck, have fun. And then after the game, it was, good game regardless of the outcome. So that was great advice then. I've certainly valued your other advice on some other, other stuff through the years, but very, very fortunate. So again, thank you to the committee and everybody else. I appreciate it.